Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bare Bones Wargaming, a show with no bells, no whistles, no frills, just a man, a camera, and his game. Now, this is the last episode I'm going to do for a little bit here on this game again, just to show you some playthrough. And part of the reason I'm doing this episode is because at the end of the last one, which rather had a Sopranos ending, because I didn't pay attention to the charge on my battery, so sorry about that. I pulled this marker. And this marker is one of those ones that is unique. It's different in the rules. Usually the markers are like the ones that I showed you before. And they basically have a specific line that's activated. But there are some markers that you basically have to go and see what does each one of those do. Now, this particular one that I pulled for this sample turn, to show you a special one here, is the combined fleet against the Naval General Staff. So, alright, the IGN phase immediately comes to an end. Woo! And basically proceed to the US phase, place this counter in the already played box, which I just use a cup, to be honest. I just like to, because sometimes the map can get crowded with this. So, that was kind of fast and furious. So that's that. So let's go ahead and let's jump to the US phase then here. Alright, reinforcement. I'm going to go ahead and bring one of these, they're bringing this fighter group into play here. And bring it into the West Coast. See if I can get something done with that this next time around. Don't need to assign Naval Air to task force. Combining task forces. I don't really think I need to do that right now. Let me look at Task Force 17 is not completely maxed out, but Task Force 1 is, yeah, it's just not, yeah, it's, it doesn't have any important ships, shall we say. So I don't see any need to combine anybody. Okay. Place new task force, don't need to do that. Spotting attempts. Now I can continue to try and do spotting attempts. I'll try again here with the island to spot this carrier force again. And then once I move my force, I should... Oh no, I gotta do... The airstrike comes before moving. Curses! Because US planes really don't have much range. They only have a range of 2. So even if I spot that bad boy over there, it's not gonna do me much good. Yeah, because next time, when we come back to the Japanese turn, yeah, okay, so really not much point in spotting anything then, because I really can't do anything. I'm not going to launch that lone plane now from Dutch Harbor for sure, because that will just be a mess. Okay, alright, so let's try the signals intelligence though. If we roll 6, we get to find out what the next marker is. It's a 3, so no luck there. Okay, so airstrike I could launch, not going to do it though. Movement, though, I'm going to move Task Force 16 over here by the base. Because, I mean, I have to come to grips with the IJN. And, of course, hope that maybe the Aleutian line doesn't get activated next time. And then I can just go ahead and launch my own airstrike along one line when it gets to be my turn. That's it, so. Alright, so I can rebase bombers if I wish. But I think I'm okay on that right now. Same thing with fighters. There's no combat, there's no return. Logistics, the air unit at the end of last time, I got it back on the damage table. And again, just to show you here, let me go ahead and move over here and zoom in real quick. Again, there's lots of tables, of course, and they're all on the map because this is a magazine game. You know how that goes and stuff. But basically with repairs, you roll for the range, and then depending on what it is, if it's a plane, there's specific spaces it goes on the track. 4 for bomber, 3 for fighter. If it's ships, then you have to roll to see exactly how much damage they incur. And then once you do that, then what you end up doing, and let's just go ahead and move over here while we're zoomed in, then you put it back on the track. So I have this air unit from last time, and then of course up here, I still have the Saratoga working its way, but once it gets to the repaired box, I'll be able to put it back into play. So I'll have another task force that will be at my disposal, which will be good. That'll be awesome. So I don't need repair. I don't have anything I want to refit. Don't have to do damaged naval units. Coastal defense is all good and stuff. So now it's the end of turn. So I'll move this fighter up to where it's at minimal damage there. And then I will move this Saratoga. It's now totally repaired. So I could join it. Technically, I could join the Saratoga with Task Force 11 with the 2 destroyer groups and the battleship group. I might do that. That's a lot of firepower to protect it, although it's not a whole lot of air punch in it, of course. Now, I could juggle around with some of the other task forces. I could join it to Task Force 17, because Task Force 17 is allowed a maximum of 6 units in it. So, we'll see. I'll have to make that decision and figure out what I want to do there with that. Now, if there were any units that were spotted, they would, of course, get flipped. And since we had such a short Japanese one last time, let me go ahead and do another Japanese draw. And we'll do a little bit more on this turn. And then once I'm done on this video here, I'll basically do maybe one more, just to show you some air combat when I get to the point where there's carriers near each other. And that's it. Again, I mean, this is, you know, it's like a lot of solitaire games to me. You know, it's just one where, oh, we got another short Japanese counter again. Look at that. This Japanese counter this time is the Victory Spirit one. So let's see what that one says. So the Victory Spirit one basically says, intelligence redeploy. Here, Victory Spirit. Move all USN task force back 1 space on every route line except those that are in a home box. Well, that'll push back Task Force 16 in Alaska, but that's it. So that one doesn't really help as far as trying to get their expansion again. But that again is another example of a special one. And you would basically go to the rest of the turn, go down to the bottom. So now we're back to the US turn, which again is going to go pretty quick because there's not a whole lot going on. So again, you know, like a lot of solitaire games, sometimes there's a lot happening, and then sometimes you go like ages without having anything happen. So, reinforcements. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in another one of these bomber units and deploy it here to the west coast as my reinforcement. Assign naval air to task force, not worried about that. Combining task force and bringing ships in. I am so tempted to turn Task Force 17 into a 3-carrier task force. So I'm going to wait on that then. I'm going to move the Saratoga here in a little bit. Yeah, I might move Task Force 17 back to the west coast and pull in some other ships. Yeah, I might go ahead and do that. So, spotting attempt, don't really need to worry about that because, again, there's not really anything to spot, and anything I can spot, I really can't hit. Signals intelligence came up empty again, so no worries there. Okay, so air strike. I am going to go ahead and move Task Force 17 from Pearl Harbor to here so I can combine task forces and basically get some units put together here to reorganize myself for my next strike to attack. So, rebasing bombers and fighters. I am going to go ahead and do that, and I am going to go ahead and, well, Port Moresby has been quiet. But see, the thing is that Midway, well, I could take that fighter. That's a good idea. Let me go ahead and take that one fighter plane back to Midway, because that'll be helpful for rebasing. I'm going to leave this bomber, well, you know what? Let me bring this bomber group down here to New Cal. Well, I can't actually. New Cal's only got 1. All right, I'll bring it all the way over here to Port Moresby. That'll be 3 air units, where a maximum of 4 is allowed. Okay, there's no combat, there's no return. Logistics, I don't have anything to do any die roll repairing on. Nothing damaged. I can go ahead and this air unit now will be available in the West Coast box. So I'll get that air unit back into play. And, yeah. That's it. So again, some turns move really fast, and some turns take forever. So, let's try one more draw here, and see if we can get something a little more complicated, get you a little more action here. But I forget what book I read once. It said something to the effect of, if war is not scaring you to death, it's boring you to death. So, not much going on right now. And of course, I'm just quoting that because I've not served in the military. I'll be honest about that. I have the highest respect for the armed forces, but I've never actually served. Oh, so this time we're going to get some action. There we go. It's the MI marker. Yeah, alright. So, let's go ahead, since we know it's the MI line, let's swing over here and let's zoom in on the Japanese MI position. So there they are. Remember, they've already sorted earlier in this game. They left Kishu and they're on their way. Alright. Spotting attempt. Well, there's nothing on the line here because there's no naval forces from the U.S. involved. And of course, Midway is always spotted because it is a base. Task force movement. The Japanese have 4 units there. They have a carrier strike force. They also have, well, we'll go from order from east to west here. So we got the main body, and we've got the invasion force. We got the carrier strike force, which we still don't know what's exactly in there. And then last but not least, we have the guard force. I'm going to pull this out a little bit because some folks might be on the move here. So let's see. So first of all, the main body force rolled a 1. So the main body moves 1 space. So they have arrived at Wake Island. Now, important thing to note is even if a naval force is at a base of either side, it is not automatically detected. So you still have to do a spotting try to find a naval force, even if it's located at an island base. Now the invasion force, is on the move. It has arrived at Wake Island as well. So it's hightailing it. The carrier strike force has also arrived at Wake. Ooh, this is bad news for us. And then last but not least, the guard force, which must be having some kind of mechanical problems or something, they're still way back here on space number 2. That's a little weird. I mean, they're supposed to be guarding, right? I mean, but again, sometimes it's kind of like people, talk about with randomness and stuff when you're playing games solo. It's like, oh, well, a real person would do this or whatever and stuff. But, I mean, think about how many things there are in military conflict that people make gross mistakes, that people make things that, again, turn you into Scooby-Doo, and you're just like, Reggie? You can't figure it out. I'm just reading a book about Imperial Japan right now, the first Sino-Japanese war, and some of the mistakes the Chinese made with not deploying their fleet and doing other things, it's something that if you were playing it as a board game, you would be looking at your opponent like, dude, what are you doing? Are you okay? I mean, have you had a bit too much to drink today already? But in reality, that's what happens. So when I play games solo and I do certain things with rolls or certain things like this happen, that are head scratching, it's part of reality. I mean, just because you think something's the optimal move or this is what should be done, warfare is not a game of chess. And yes, maybe you can take gross advantage of an opponent's mistakes, but that's true of any competition, whether it's sports or anything else. If somebody else is matching up a slow linebacker on your quick running back out of the backfield, hey, of course you're going to throw a screen pass and try to smoke it down the field. I mean, that's what life's all about. So I'm not one of those people who's into the no luck camp kind of thing. Life is full of luck and chance and, things that just happen. That's life. That's all there's to it. So, sorry, didn't mean to get off a rant there. Let's go ahead and proceed here after our movement with the IJN. Okay, now the reaction one. Now, unfortunately, they're not close enough to Midway for me to do any kind of spotting. Because remember, in order for U.S. to do a spotting attempt, it has to be 2 spaces away. Because again, the U.S. aircraft just did not have the same range that the Japanese did at this point in time in early 1942. Now, the Japanese could launch another airstrike against Midway, and could, of course, like we had before, they could try to bomb the base over there, make it easier to invade, could soften things up if they want to. Their aircraft carrier range is not such that they would be able to get there, I don't believe. Let me just make sure. Well, actually, you know what? Fighter planes would be able to reach 1, 2, 3. They would be able to reach 4 spaces. So they would be able to send up a fighter force if they wanted to do so. So, and again, this is one of the problems in the game is, how do you launch a strike with a force that hasn't been revealed yet? And again, my solution has been that. So let me check here with a CVL and see what the range is on the fighter planes. Yeah, see, fighter planes on the CVL also have a range of 4, as well as on the big CVs, they have a range of 4 as well. So I could send 2 fighter planes up from the aircraft carrier strike force there to support the bomber that's on wait, because the bombers, now the bombers from the aircraft carriers only have a range of 3. They would not be able to reach, so it would have to be that way. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll send 1 CVL, 1 CV. We'll pretend again that's what's here because, you know, fog of war, who knows. And we'll send this bomber over here to Midway as well. So here we go again. We'll have some action at Midway. Do a little bit of a fight there as they try to soften up the island, which again kind of announces their presence, which again seems a little, I don't know, ahistorical and stuff, but this particular unit here is a very long range unit with a 5. So yeah. Okay, so let's see if the U.S. has any fighter units there. I don't know if I put any fighter planes back here or not. Yes, I do. I have 1 U.S. fighter unit here. So the Japanese will have a 4 and a 3 unit. And again, sometimes to make things go faster, I use like a 2-color combo. So like the big CV, I'll make white. The small one, or the big one, I'll make red. The small one, I'll make white. So then we got 4s and 3s going on. And let's go ahead and take a look and see what happens here at aerial combat with the fighter plane first. And ouch, 2 hits by the Japanese. So I just got this back into the thing. And the U.S. hit 2 things exactly, jack and squat. So, now again, this bombing unit will have a chance to do its bombing run, but it needs a 1. No luck. And of course, the U.S. anti-aircraft factor there of the base is a top number, which is a nice high 4. So let's see if we can shoot this bad boy down. No, and as you can hear, one of my dice hit my tile. Whoa, and clean across the room. Holy smoke, I don't know if you guys can still hear me from that far away. Okay, so it missed. So we'll return these guys back here to wake. Nothing's done there, no harm, no foul, except I guess US, we lost our air units. So, okay, so that's the airstrike step. There's no mutual combat, there's no amphibious, there's no need to worry about morale because the Japanese didn't lose anything. Logistics step here. The Japanese, I'm going to double check here because I forgot that that unit at Wake Island was damaged. So let me just see here. Okay, so I do need to roll to repair a damaged IGN unit anywhere on the map. Well, right now they only have 1. So we'll go down here to the table and see what we got. Rolled a 3. Alright, so repair table. Reduced air unit, 1 through 4, no, I rolled a 3, 1 through 4 is no effect, so no dice there. But again, we have here, very ominously, and I'll pull back here a little bit, as you can see, it's very ominous looking here now. Got this huge Japanese force on its way towards Midway. So what I think I am going to do is, I am going to go ahead with the U.S. turn. I'm going to put the Saratoga with Task Force 17, which could take up to 6 ships in it, and I'm going to boldly go after it. So it's kind of funny because history's kind of repeating itself here, because when I look up here at the carrier strike force for the Japanese, there are 4 flat tops in the first carrier strike force. How funny is that? Of course, remember, we also have that massive force that's headed toward the Aleutians, and again, we lose the game if any 2 green U.S. bases come under Japanese control after being invaded amphibiously, or any one home base like Alaska, Pearl Harbor, New Caledonia, etc. Gets occupied. So you have to keep an eye on things here. So the Japanese have done their logistics. So U.S. reinforcements. I do have reinforcements. I'm going to bring in this Royal Air Force one. Now that one actually goes to Australia. It's the only one there. So let me go ahead and zoom back out here real quick as we finish up this turn. And then I'll make this the last turn until we get some serious carrier airstrike action. And then what I'll do is I'll start the video once I reach that point, and I'll just kind of give you a briefing about what's been happening in between that. And that'll probably be my last video for this game. Again, because my intention is just to give you an idea how the game's played, how it feels, how it looks, quote-unquote, in action, if you will. So, alright, got my reinforcement. Combining task force. Yes, I definitely want to do that. So I'm going to take the Saratoga and put it into Task Force 17. And I can also take another force here. I'm going to take the destroyer force because they have better anti-aircraft fire. So make sure I didn't go over my 6 limit here on Task Force 17. So 2, 4, 6. Yes, 6. Okay. So I've got 6 ships there under Spruance that are going to be ready to roll, and we're going to head to Midway. I have to start moving that way. I'm going to have to hold off on the Aleutian threat, I think, and start moving my guys out of Pearl Harbor. There at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video here right now and basically go ahead and pick up next time after I move these U.S. forces.